What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe, and we're back with another action figure review. And today we'll be taking a look at the brand new Mezco 112 Collective Old Man Logan. And as some of you might know, this is my most anticipated figure of 2018, so I'm so excited to have this guy. So we're going to speed right through the packaging so we can look at the figure itself. So the packaging is a typical Mezco packaging. It has a big X logo in the center. It kind of looks grimy and messed up. Then along the top it says Old Man Logan. On the bottom it says 112 Collective and Marvel. Then on the side you have a yellow background and another X logo. And then on the back of the box you get a look at the figure itself along with some of the accessories, and then you see some promo shots that we've seen before. And this box is one of the new style Mezco boxes where it just has a slip cover. I think that started with Deadpool, and it doesn't have like the open book kind of style. So once you take the slip cover off, you're able to see the figure. Of course, you can see all the accessories, and it's a little hard to see because all the packaging that they use. So I'm a big fan of the collector friendly packaging from Mezco. It looks nice, it's bulky, blah blah blah. Let's look at the figure. And here he is out of the box. And before we get into the articulation, I just wanted to say real quick, I love this figure. I usually save my thoughts in general about the figure till the end of the video, but I just wanted to say off top, I'm so happy with this figure. I think they did an amazing job with him. As soon as I opened it, I fell in love with it. I'm completely satisfied. I do have a couple small little gripes that I wish were different, but there's nothing too serious. We'll get into those in a minute, but yeah, I just wanted to say this figure is awesome. So let's get into the articulation here. His head is able to move side to side. You have the typical Mezco neck and head setup where you have movement where the head and the neck meet and where the neck and the torso meet. So that allows his head to go all the way up. You can get him to look up a really nice amount, and then you could get him to look down a really nice amount. And then of course you could get his head to tilt like all the way to the side. I'm a big fan of the Mezco neck and head setup. I think it works really good. Check that out. You could get some really expressive poses out of that. And then for his torso, he has the two torso joints. He has a joint at the waist and a joint in the mid torso, and using both of those you could get him to tilt to the side. You could get him to lean back to about there. Mezco torso joints aren't great, but it's pretty decent here on Old Man Logan. You could get him to crunch to about there. It's a pretty decent amount. It's not bad at all. And then you could obviously get him to twist side to side. Most of your movement is going to come from the mid torso joint, not so much from the waist, but the waist does have a little bit, as you could see there. And then for his arms, he does have the shoulder, the butterfly type of joint. It doesn't get too much movement, but it's definitely there, as you could see. And then he has ball jointed shoulders, and his shirt is pretty loose, so you could get his arms to go all the way up to the top. I mean, all the way up like this without messing up any of the shirt, and you could pretty much get it to go all the way around if you'd like. Just got to kind of rotate the shirt around. See that? So that's really good. And then he has the upper bicep swivel. He has double jointed elbows. He has a swivel at the wrist and a hinge at the wrist. And all the joints are really nice and tight. Not as tight as on some of the other Mezco Wolverine figures, but they're very tight. They don't feel loose at all. And then for his legs, you probably don't want to get him to do the splits because you could possibly rip the pants, but his legs do come all the way out to the side. And they do kick forward. Pretty nice amount. And then they come back. And then you have the upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees. And then for the ankles, they're actually not too bad. They go forward to about there. Actually, they actually don't move up and down too much, but they do have a decent amount of rocking side to side. It's not as good as like Deathstroke or anything, but it is pretty decent. I'm not really mad at it at all. And then of course you have the swivel side to side. So I think all the articulation is really good on Old Man Logan, and his clothes that he has on is pretty simple and plain, so it really doesn't get in the way. Like some Mezco figures have armor and different kind of things going on and different types of material, and it really restricts the articulation, but that's not the case with Old Man Logan. So I'm very happy to see that the articulation works really good on him. And Old Man Logan comes with a couple awesome accessories. Some of the things that he comes with are really unique to Old Man Logan, and some of the things are pretty much the same stuff that we always see with Mezco figures, like multiple hands. And the first set of hands he has is a pair of fists, and then he has a pair of fists with claws popped out, and then he has an open hand for his right side, and then a like tight gripping hand for his left side. And then he comes with a very nice looking backpack, And the backpack can be used to hold on to the baby Hulk that he comes with. And check out all the nice sculpt work they did on this backpack. You can see all kinds of nice details. You got some buckles and some straps and different like stitching patterns and all kinds of cool stuff going on. They really went all out with the details on this thing. The only thing I don't like about this backpack is the fact that the straps don't detach at all. So you always kind of feel like you're at risk of breaking these when you're taking the backpack on and off of Logan. So that's one little flaw, but other than that, the backpack is awesome. It looks great. It fits really tight on Logan. And it's soft plastic, so Baby Hulk is able to come in and out really easy. You just got to kind of wiggle him out. And with a little bit of work, he comes right out. And speaking of Baby Hulk, this thing is awesome. Check out his face sculpt. Look at his eyes. There's like a reflective kind of quality to them. And it's cool because it feels like they put the same care and detail into this head sculpt as they would on like the head sculpt of an actual figure. So that's just really awesome. Check it out. And yeah, this is so cool. Everything about this is cool. I love the purple blanket, purple little pacifier to give it like that classic Hulk kind of feel. And yeah, check it out. The sculpting work on this thing is amazing. You got the little hair, you even got some paint details in the hair. Yeah, they did a really good job. And then like I said, it goes right into the backpack really easy. Just gotta work with it. It sits right in there nice and snug. And the best way to get this backpack on and off is to kind of have Logan's arms pointed back like that. And then you just kind of wrap it around. And yeah, you just gotta be very careful with it. It would be such a bummer if you messed up this backpack, because it really is cool. And like I said, it does fit really snug on the Logan too, so check that out. That is so awesome. And another awesome and unique accessory that Logan comes with is his cowboy hat. And this thing is awesome because it's soft plastic, but it's molded to fit his head. So once you put it on there, you do not have to worry about it falling off. It fits on there very snug. You could shake him around, it's not going to fall off. And then when you do want to take it off, it comes right off. It's not like it's stuck to his head or anything. So it's very cool and it's very nice. They did a really good job on it. You got some paint details in there. And check it out, it does look like a worn out, messed up cowboy hat. There's a lot of nice details in there. You got some nice paint work and some nice paint shading. And yeah, just really well done. And for the last thing in the awesome accessory department, we have his jacket, his trench coat, duster, whatever you want to call it. And this thing looks really nice. I like the way it feels. It is that fake leather stuff, but it feels really like good quality. It doesn't feel like it's gonna chip or flake or anything eventually. So it does look really cool. And the thing I like about this thing is that it has wires here where the zipper would be. So you could get his jacket into some cool like blowing in the wind poses and things like that. But it also has a wire up here at the collar. So check that out. That's really cool too. I don't think that I've seen that before on one of these jackets. I don't believe the Punisher one had that. And it doesn't have the wires down here, which is kind of strange. But yeah, the jacket's really nice, and you could actually see some wear on the jacket. You can see that the color's a little bit different. I don't know if it's picking it up here on camera, but it's a little bit lighter along the edges here, and it's darker like right in here. But yeah, this is a really cool looking jacket. I do wish that it had actual pockets. That would have been awesome, but it doesn't. It's not a big deal, but I think that would have been a plus. And just like with the backpack, I think the best way to put the jacket on the Logan is have his arms back, possibly take off his fist, but I've had no problem just putting it on with his fist on, and then you kind of swing his arms around, you know. And let's see here. And one of my gripes with the figure is the fact that the shirt's so loose, and that really comes into play when you're putting on the jacket, because it kind of starts to bunch up, and then it makes his arms hard to move. But it doesn't, the jacket itself doesn't hinder the articulation too much, but it does get in the way a little bit. But check it out, you could do the, you know, jacket in the wind kind of deal. Throw his cowboy hat on, and that looks awesome. I love that. Kind of looks like Indiana Jones or something, which you know, makes me think that Mezco should make an Indiana Jones. That'd be awesome. But the one thing, when you have the jacket on, the one thing that's kind of iffy is the backpack. You can definitely get the backpack on. Again, be careful. You don't want to move these. You don't want to be too rough with these straps. But that is all a little bit more difficult when you're trying to put the backpack on with the jacket. So you really want to be careful. But you could definitely get the backpack on while you have the jacket. But you really want to be careful. I'm going to take my time here just for a second. And like I said, the fact that the shirt is so loose, and then having the jacket on top of that, and then the straps really hinders the arm articulation. You're not going to get too much movement once you have the backpack and the jacket on. But it does look super cool. I do love the way it looks, especially when you have Baby Hulk in the back here. And again, you just have to wiggle them in there. And just the overall, you know, the overall look for Logan like this is awesome. I'll probably display him just like this, try to get him into some decent poses, but it's going to be really hard with the arm area. But yeah, you really want to be careful with putting the backpack on, putting the jacket on, all of that stuff. When I'm posing the figure and messing with it and stuff, I'm probably not going to have the jacket on while I'm doing stuff like that, because he's a really fun figure to pose and play with. But, you know, that kind of gets thrown out the window once you put the jacket and the backpack on. But for me, as long as I was able to get his arm up high enough to kind of tilt his hat, then I was pretty much happy with the articulation when the jacket's on. So as long as I could get him to do something like that, I know that's a bad pose, but that's kind of the concept I wanted to be able to do. You know, kind of make it look like he's holding his hat while it's in the wind, you know. Something like that. As long as I could do that, I'm pretty happy. And, you know, like I said, you could always take the jacket off and pose and play with them and enjoy the figure's articulation. And then, of course, it has the Mezco Stand, and it's the same logo that's on the front of the box. And it does look cool and stuff, but I'm just not a big fan of these stands. I mean, they look nice, the figures look nice on them, but they're very frustrating. As soon as you touch them, they get smudged and you can't clean them off. But anyways, you got the cool X logo here, then you have the peg there. You could use the articulating stand posing arm to pop the peg out. This one came out really easy, so that's cool. Then you could stick that in there, and then you could get Logan into some like jumping poses if you'd like. I probably won't be using this stand at all for Logan, but he does look cool standing on it. And for some quick size comparisons, here he is next to the Mezco Punisher and the Mezco Deadpool. And as you can see, Logan is a little bit shorter than the average Mezco figure, so I think that's pretty good. And now here we have the Marvel Legends Juggernaut Wave Wolverine and the Marvel Legends Old Man Logan. And he's taller than both of them, but Mezco figures typically run a little bit bigger than Marvel Legends. And now here we have him next to the Figure Arts Ant-Man and the Mafex Homecoming Spider-Man. And now here we have him with the Mezco Nightmare Batman and the Mezco Batman vs. Superman. So in my opinion, I think that he scales really well with other Mezco figures. He probably could have been a little bit shorter, but that might just be my personal preference. I like when Wolverine is short and stocky. But I think that Logan here scales pretty good, so I'm happy with it. And now here we have Old Man Logan with all the other versions of Wolverine that Mezco has given us. And I think it's so dope that they've given us all 4 of these versions. They pretty much hit all the different iconic versions of Wolverine. You know, you got Tiger Stripe Wolverine that appeals to like the people that are fans of the animated series or like the 90s kids such as myself. And then you have the X-Force version for the more modern audience. And then you have the OG Wolverine for people that like the classic Wolverine. And then you have Old Man Logan. And that kind of appeals to people that are fans of the comic book, but also people that were fans of the Logan movies. So you hit kind of all the different audiences here. And it's pretty much all the versions of Wolverine that we'd want. The only other 2 that I could think of that I think that we're missing is, you know, the Age of Ultron. The Age of Apocalypse Wolverine and the Astonishing Wolverine. I think if they gave us those, then we'd be set on Wolverine figures. For now, I'm happy with the 4 of these guys. And just in case anyone's curious, you are able to put the unmasked Wolverine head from the New York Comic Con exclusive version of Wolverine onto this body, and then you can have just a regular casual street clothes kind of Wolverine figure. And you can also put a bunch of other different heads on him. A couple other Mezco figure heads fit on him. Like you could put the Deathstroke head, and you could have like an Old Man Patch custom, or you can put the Shazam head. And that one looks kind of cool too, and it's pretty cool because his body is just, it does scream Wolverine, but it could also be used as like a generic henchman if you throw like a different head on there. Some Mezco heads are a little bit too small, like the Punisher head I think doesn't really fit very good. But yeah, you do have some options, and if you'd like, you can even figure out a way to get the Marvel Legends Old Man Logan head onto this body if you like it a little bit better. It kind of just sits on there loose, so you might have to tack it on or modify it somehow to get it to stay, but it does look kind of cool. But I do think that the Mezco head sculpt is far superior to the Marvel Legends one. And as for the details on the figure, I think that they did a really good job. Up here you just have a plain white shirt, but it's not super bright white, so you don't really have to worry about getting it dirty or whatever. It already kind of has like a grimy, dirty effect to it. So I do like that they did that because he wouldn't have a super nice clean shirt in a post-apocalyptic world. One thing I do not like about the shirt though is the way that the stitching bunches up here on the shoulder, and I think that's where you're getting most of your problems when you're trying to move his arms when his jacket is on, because it kind of bunches up, and yeah, it's just really strange. Check it out how like it's like bumpy right here, you know? And it's because the stitching landed right on the shoulder. So I think that was kind of a flaw. It would have made more sense to land in the groove between the shoulder and the torso, but it is what it is. It landed right on the shoulder. And the other thing is, I do wish that the sleeve was a little bit tighter. But other than that, I have no real big problems with the shirt. I think it looks good and I am happy with it. And one thing that's really cool on this guy is the belt buckle. Check that out. I like the sculpted kind of longhorn bull that they got on there. Another thing that was interesting is the way they did the belt loops. The belt loops are actually a sculpted part of the belt. It tricked me at first. I thought it was actually part of the pants, and I was like, man, that's really crazy. But it turned out it's just the belt loops are the same color of the pants, and I think that's a really good way to do it. But on the side here, there is a string that holds the belt in place, so it's always going to stay at the waistline. So I think it's very cool that the way they did that whole situation. One thing I don't like about the pants is the way that they just stitched pockets here to kind of make it look like there's pockets. I think that was kind of weak. And one thing that was mentioned in D Amazing's review is that you could kind of see the pants like go into the grooves right here of where the hip joints are, and that could be a little frustrating, so you might want to be careful with that when you're taking your pictures. And aside from that, the pants are awesome. I like the fact that the pants have like different colors to them. You could see at the lower leg it gets a little bit brighter, and it kind of looks like there's a worn kind of look to it, you know. And I think that's really nice. I love all the stitching on the side. All the stitching is very well done. It's very nice and clean, as you could see. On the back, the stitching is pretty clean. And yeah, the pants look really, really cool along with the belt. It looks awesome. One thing I really love about this figure is these sculpted boots. Check them out. You got cowboy boots going on, and that's really awesome. And one thing that's really like above and beyond is you could actually tell that there's cowboy boots under the pant leg. You can't lift up the pant leg at all, but it only goes up to there, and you could already see that the boot's there, but it comes all the way up, and you could see it you could see the pants like forming around it, and that's awesome, because I feel like they could have just had a lower leg in there and put a boot at the bottom and probably got away with it, but they actually have a sculpted boot under there, so that's really, really cool. And as for the head sculpt, I think it's awesome. It's probably one of the better Mezco head sculpts. I don't really think that it screams Old Man Logan from the Mark Millar comic book, but I do think that it screams Old Man Logan and Wolverine just in general. And I love all the scratches and scars and everything on the top of the head. I think it looks awesome. I love the way that the eyes look. I love the facial expression. And one thing I really liked a lot that I noticed afterwards is like the neck even looks like there's a lot of details in there. It doesn't just look like a regular neck. It actually matches the style of the skin on the face. There's like actual wrinkles and creases, and it kind of looks like an old person's skin. I'm not really sure if you could tell here on camera, but in person you could definitely see that there's a lot of details in the neck. But yeah, I love this face sculpt. I think they did a really nice job with it. I love all the gray hair. I love the scars all over the face, and the facial expression is just amazing. So I'm very happy with this head sculpt. And like I always say on Mezco Wolverine figures, I think that they make the best claws that we've ever seen on a 6-inch Wolverine. And they're just awesome. They're very straight. They look good the way they come out of the hands. They don't feel like they're going to break. They're very sturdy, and they actually look like metal. They don't look like plastic that's going to warp. It doesn't look cheap at all. I really like the way the Mezco does the claws, so that's awesome stuff. I just wanted to make sure to mention that here. So overall, I absolutely love this figure. I think that Mezco did an amazing job. I do have a couple gripes with the t-shirt, and I do have a couple gripes with how the arms get really restricted when you throw the jacket and the backpack on. But other than those two little things, I love this figure. They did an amazing job. It looks awesome. He's fun to pose and play with. And even though I'm not a huge fan of the Old Man Logan storyline, I do like the idea of Old Man Logan, and I like how they've kind of used it in other things, like other comic books and in the movie. And I think that this figure captures the spirit of all that, because he's not necessarily 100% accurate to any version of Old Man Logan. I'd say that he takes the most inspiration from the Mark Millar version and Steve McNiven version, but yeah, I think he's just like a, you know, like a collaboration, or he's just like a mix-up of all the different kinds of Old Man Logan interpretations there are out there. So I'm happy with that. And yeah, he's an awesome figure. Even if you don't like him for Old Man Logan, you go pop another head on there and then you have some random henchmen, you know. So it's cool that there's a lot of possibilities with this guy. And yeah, I think that's it. So thank you very much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, and all that cool stuff. And before I get out of here, I want to give a huge shout out to the guys that I bought this from. I was looking for one. I wanted one quick. I found a seller on Instagram and he hooked me up. He's on the East Coast and they go by the name of Sculptomotoys, and they had awesome communication, awesome service. I ordered this figure and they sent it to me and I had it in 2 days, and they're all the way on the East Coast. I'm all the way in California, the Bay Area, and all that good stuff, and they got it over to me quick. So I look forward to doing business with them in the future, buying more figures from them, and I'll leave a link to their website in the description below, so be sure to check them out and all that cool stuff. But yeah, thank you very much and have a good day. Peace.